What's on your mind? Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop. What do you think?
What do you think? That's what I want to know. It's Friday. What are you doing this weekend? Are you having a cookout? Are you being with family? Are you going to some football games? What are you doing this weekend? Do you have any big plans? Are you just as a laborer? Are you just looking forward to a day off on Monday? Yes, a day off of just being able to do nothing. I'd like to say I could do nothing, but you know me, I can't really do nothing, and I have I have this one-man show. I call it my radio station, WCRS, right here in Greenwood. So it's a problem. It's a problem. I can't really take a day off, but I plan to kick back, and when I do, Penny will come over, and she'll be, if I give her the ball to play with, she'll bring it over. It's got a squeaker in it, and she'll bring it over, and she'll keep squeaking it right by me till she knows she aggravates me enough, and I get up and I go and go play ball with her. Or she'll be aggravating enough running around, and she'll just know that eventually I'll go, all right, we'll go outside. So I know what my weekend is going to be. It's hard being the playmate of your dog. I mean, you know, she needs some other friends. Really. Penny, find a group of friends, please. All right, we are here today to celebrate the fact that it is going to be a long weekend for a lot of people. A lot of people going to be out of town. A lot of people taking advantage of the last of summer, and school is already back in session. Although I think they're out of school today. If I am correct. Am I correct? No, I guess they're not. No, I guess they're not out of school. They're not out of school. So they'll be in school today, and then Monday they will be off, but they are in school. That must have been an earlier holiday I was thinking about. All right, so they are going to be getting ready. It'll probably be a lot of people missing school. I don't know. But anyways, that's what's happening. Football tonight, so that's another good one. All right, let's talk about some of the things that are out there in the world to talk about. A lot of things are starting to come down the pike and are beginning to affect the tariffs, the budget cuts, this type of thing. So it is something that, for example, how canceled National Institutes of Health, the NIH, remember when that was destroyed because they weren't doing things right, how canceled National Institute of Health grants are impacting South Carolina students. This is something that is out there. AI is making it easier for bad actors to create biosecurity threats. Federal Health Agency orders states to strip references to gender identity from sex ed. There's all kinds of things out there that are happening, but they're not the things that really get any oxygen, because there's so much happening to do this. So I just thought I might highlight a couple of these things. They may not be big things, but they are things that are happening. The reaction, first off, I just want to say the reaction from the left on this Minneapolis shooting, of course, has them going to try to get rid of the guns, all this type of stuff. Seriously, the guns are a tool. And I guess you could make a case, in some case, of these type of things. I think it needs to go back further to mental health care. That's where I think we should be making more strides. And I'm not really sure that we are. There is, of course, talk of doing this, that, and the other. But a lot of it is just talk. A lot of it doesn't create any action. President Trump has said it. He wanted homeless people off the streets, and so they're supposed to be cleaning up the streets. But where do these people go? And do they get the help to turn them into productive citizens? So I think, to me, that's one of the really big stories that doesn't get that much oxygen, but it is certainly something that needs to be talked about. More than 100 K through 12 public schools lack police officers. South Carolina has the money to fill these roles. This is another, in light of what happened in Minneapolis, becomes something even more important. Every K through 12 public school in the state will have the money to hire a full-time police officer this year, Governor McMaster said on Wednesday. He began pushing for every school in the state to hire a school resource officer in charge of security in 2018. And yet, there are still not every school with a SRO, school resource officer. Though his calls have intensified after the Valentine's Day shooting in Parkland, that left 17 students and staff dead. For years, we've made it our mission to ensure that every student, teacher, and staff member is protected by an armed certified full-time resource officer in every school in every county, all day, every day. And now we have finished the job. So they have put the money out there. I guess now it is the job of I guess it falls under the police department to make sure that they have hired people to do this job. And of course, that's one of the things that Senator Garrett commented on yesterday, how the money was in the budget. Since July 1st, the agency has provided money to 58 additional schools to hire full-time police officers. That leaves 119 of the state's 1,283 public schools without an officer, according to the governor's office. So there are still 119 schools that do not have an SRO in it. The agency is working to fill those remaining positions, said Mike Oliver, Deputy Director of the Public Safety Department. Our priority is keeping kids safe, and we are fortunate to have an administration that looks out for teachers and law enforcement. Addressing a legislative panel Wednesday, State Superintendent Ellen Weaver noted the difficulties of hiring officers. You all have now provided enough funds for the school resource officer in every school in South Carolina. The challenge is finding enough SROs, but the funding is there, she told a House Oversight Subcommittee when asked about school safety issues. The number one thing we have to do in terms of that personnel side is to make sure we have hired and found all those SROs we need. And that is part of the problem. That is the problem across our state, across our country, is how do we get people to take the jobs that are out there that are necessary? I still don't understand. I mean, every day here in the Lakelands area, I hear of employers that are saying, we can't find anybody to work. We can't find anybody to work. They all are scrambling. And so that is a problem. If you're a business out there, are you having problems finding employees? Is that why the robot revolution? The robot revolution. Is that why we're seeing robots delivering food in restaurants? Is that why fast food restaurants are changing? Because that used to be, that's right, my favorite word, that used to be one of the things that we wanted our young people to start as a job, right? You started a job doing working in fast food. You learned how to what was the fast food thing? If you can lean, you can clean. And you learned that you better keep busy or your boss was going to be on your ass, right? Yeah. All those type of things. And And the problem, and this is what frustrates me, is that if you go back and listen to Joel Smart's interview that was on Wednesday of this week, which Wednesday was, what was that, the 27th, yes. Go back and listen to or watch his interview. You will see the people from the Burton Center, those that were able to work single-focused on jobs, are the people that we need in the job market. And yet, because of the change in the rules, because of how the laws, not the rules, the laws, we are unable to place a lot of these workers because they need that pre-work in order to be able to get a job out there in our community. So from that standpoint, that is one of the reasons that I think it is such a shame. Yesterday, when Senator Garrett was here, we heard about a pallet company that was working with the Burton Center. We heard about from Joel the day before, they not only have jobs available, our local employers, they can actually maybe not have thought about a way to use somebody from the Burton Center and to help their other people be more efficient. I hearkened to the story that he told us about. He went to a doctor's office, and he asked if they would have anybody that they could use for cleaning or anything like that. And they were talking, and they go, what we really need is somebody that can shred this stuff. But the only problem is put all the records and stuff in a shredder. This is HIPAA stuff, so we have to have it, have somebody certified and all this type of stuff. And Joel says, I have a person that is from the Burton Center who cannot read. He would be perfect for that job, and he would love to do that job. And they put him on board doing that job. No problem. He couldn't read, so it wasn't a problem of him walking away with any information about anybody. And he shredded the work, shredded the paperwork. My brother had Down syndrome. And as many of you know, he's a brother I didn't know about until 2000, until my father died. That's how I found out about my brother. But one of the things they always said about my brother is he loved to work. And he would, if they set him up cleaning, he worked in the kitchen in several restaurants. If they told him to wash that floor, clean that floor, he would clean that floor until somebody said, okay, I think it's looking good now. We can move on and do something else. But they're very focused on the job, which is hard to find in today's world because we have the telephones and everybody is so distracted. So it is a shame that we're not utilizing this workforce to the best of their ability. They want to work. They want to be out there and doing things. They need extra training to get there. Last night, I was talking to somebody, and I didn't realize in the special need class in the I guess it's in the high schools, that they have a program that helps the students get out into and get a job, and that they have teachers, but support staff out there with them doing the job, helping prepare them to be able to work. These are all great things. And we just have got to figure out a way in order to get more people into the workforce, to find more people that want to work. And I think we do need to start younger. We need to start in the high school. I think maybe part of the problem is a lot of kids that always used to work go into fast foods and this type of thing. I think COVID may have affected that. They don't see the value of getting out there and working. What do you think? 864-229-7984, 864-229-7984. Is this something that we can rectify? Is there a way? Because of COVID, I think a lot of our teenagers that would have been out working did not go out into the workforce. Because, well, even when I was employing people, and we used to have a lot of college students, when I started back in the here in Greenwood, 1980s, right? We had a plethora of college students and even high school students. We did get some interns from the high school. But as time went on, excuse me, as time went on, it got more and more difficult to get that labor pool to be part of your organization. I would hire people. This happened all the time at the mall. I would hire people, and they would, what would they do? They'd take the job, and 2 weeks after they took the job, my mom wants me to concentrate on school. She doesn't want me to work. Oh, okay. But I asked you that question when I hired you. But it became a thing to not have young people work. Now we want young people out there working and doing some of these jobs that are good college jobs or high school jobs, and they're totally unprepared for it. So this is just, it's a cycle, and the question is, how do we break that cycle? How do we break that cycle? It is one of those things that I don't know where it's going to stop. How are we going to get there? But again, and I started down this path because more than 100 K through 12 public schools lack police officers. South Carolina has the money to fill those roles. But the question is, can they fill those roles with qualified people? As the article said that Ellen Weaver said, you now have provided enough funds for the school resource officer in every school in South Carolina. The challenge is finding enough SROs, but the funding is there. The number one thing we have to do in terms of that personnel side is to make sure we have hired and found all of those SROs we need. As of July 1st, they've provided money to 58 additional schools to hire full-time police officers. That leaves 119 in the state's 1,283 public schools without an officer, according to the governor's office. So that we have the money. Can we provide the people? Do we have people that want to work and have the background, the type of qualifications that they need? This is constantly a question. I had one other article I really wanted to talk about here. Well, actually, two. Meta invests in the South Carolina solar as utilities expect more clean and energy-conscious firms to finance projects. Funding from Facebook is helping to pay for a $100 million solar project in Orangeburg County that otherwise would have cost power companies too much to build. Power companies expect to ink similar deals on future solar projects in the state, particularly as construction delays and tariffs drive up prices and Congress rolls back some of the, rolls back, where is it? Okay. Facebook's company Meta signed a contract last week with solar developers Silicon Ranch of Nashville and Columbia-based Central Electric Cooperative for the 100-megawatt project. That's down in Orangeburg. So, if not for Meta, Silicon Ranch will finance, build, own, and operate the new solar project. They'll hook into the state-owned power company Santee Cooper's grid, which in turn will deliver the power to all 19 rural electric cooperatives across South Carolina. That includes the Aiken Electric Cooperative, which serves Meta's $800 million data center under construction in Graniteville's Sage Mill Industrial Park. Meta will purchase the so-called renewable energy credits associated with the project as the social media company works toward its goal of carbon neutrality. Once electricity enters the grid, it is impossible to know where each megawatt comes from. Power from solar, gas, wind, and coal become jumbled together in the power lines that zigzag across the state. So these credits, which companies sell separately and in addition to the actual energy, shows up on customers' monthly power bills, allows their purchaser to claim ownership of the underlying social and environmental benefits of clean energy. But these are huge solar energy projects are coming in. And then I was reading another article, which, I don't know, folks. States fast-tracked wind, solar permits, and contracts to beat Trump's deadline. To qualify for tax credits, projects must start by July 4th, 2026, or be operational by the end of 2027. And so across the country, state leaders are racing to fast-track wind and solar projects before the expiration of federal tax credits. And yet, I believe Trump I know he doesn't like the windmills, and Colorado is directing state agencies to prioritize permits for projects that might qualify for the credits. Maine regulators are moving up timelines to purchase new power, hoping to give developers a head start on construction. Colorado and Maine. Well, there you go. Two liberal states. I was talking to somebody that'd been to Maine, my home state, and they go, "Oh, it's loved it up there. It's beautiful and everything. But, Ann, it's such a liberal state." I said, "Yeah, I know. Even the moose are high up there." All right. So, federal clean energy tax credits have been essential to the financing of wind and solar properties across the country. Following President Trump's move to quickly phase out those credits, pending projects have a tight frame to start construction before the eligibility expires. So states have struggled to get the permitting done. This is always one of the hang-ups, is the permitting. And so they are trying to move it quickly so they can take advantage of it. They say there are billions of dollars in tax credits that are a part of state regulators' financial analysis. And this is a guy out of Colorado. If every project was unable to access the tax credits, that would be a substantial additional cost to utility ratepayers. So this is something to watch. But even in our state, they are trying to get some of these projects underway, whether they're solar or wind. So, and they're going with a lot more of these smaller reactors, nuclear reactors, to power us. So, anyways, those are some of the topics that are out there. Nothing really earth-shaking here today. We've got, as far as on the national news, I think we've got a lot of the same. I think it's a good weekend to reflect on where we were last year in September, and where we are this year. I do want to remind you that September 1st, WCRS will have been serving Greenwood for 84 years. 84 years. And that is pretty darn tremendous, I think. So many radio stations in our smaller communities have gone out of business. And here sits WCRS under the crazy rule of Ann Eller, the voice of Greenwood. And we are thriving and surviving and bringing the news and talk show hosts and all this kind of stuff to you every day. And to me, it is a testament of survivability, and to be able to do this has been quite an honor to be able to keep WCRS on the air. A lot of people didn't think it could be done. A lot of people, when we bought WCRS back in 2010, thought that we would never be able to do it. And lo and behold, here it is, 2025, and this station is thriving and doing well. But it does well because of you, because you are tuned in and listening and seeing our advertisers and telling them that you hear them on the radio, and that is possibly the reason that you came, or it's the reason you remembered that they were there. And that is why radio is such a terrific medium in today's world. You know, you can Facebook post it, you can Instagram it and everything, but radio is the glue, because at some point during the day, most people get in their car. If they don't listen to it at home, they get in their car, they're going somewhere, and guess what? They hear the radio. And when they hear the radio, what are they seeing? What are they listening to? They're listening to radio. And radio does bring it to it. It's free. It comes across. And so that's why advertising on the radio does so much good. You don't know how many of my advertisers are always thrilled when someone actually comes in and says, I heard your ad on the radio. I heard your CBD is having a big Labor Day sale. Joe counts on WCRS to deliver the folks to come in over there. Check it out. It's going on just through Monday, the sale over there. All the programs and whatnot that go on at the YMCA is another great way to make sure that you're informed about what's going on. And sometimes we have to, as a business, you need to shine the light on yourself so that people don't forget about you. Radio is affordable, it's local, and we talk about you. And so consider advertising on radio if you're not. That's right. I gotta be around for another year, folks. 84 years on Monday. It was a huge deal in Greenwood, South Carolina, that a small South Carolina town back in 1941 went live on the air. It was a big deal in the Index Journal. They got a full page spread talking about the wonders of what was going to be coming our way every day here in WCRS. We've got some of the old recordings of all the things that were happening through the ages, and some of the news reports and some of the advertisements that they had. I mean, there's just so much history. So sometimes people say radio is outdated, radio is old. Radio is actually one of the industries that has remained relevant through all the changes out there. Radio still is the place that people love to turn it on and see what's going on the radio. And for that, I am very thankful, and I appreciate it very much. And I know our advertisers appreciate the fact when you walk in their store, when you call them on the phone, whatever way that you contact them, they appreciate you saying, I heard it on WCRS, because we can remember stuff, right? I'm going to tell you what. There's a couple of good things I want to highlight for this weekend. Do want to remind you, coming up on September 8th is the Railroad Golf Classic. That is a fundraiser, and it will be at the Greenwood Country Club. Lots of fun on that one. $90 per person, $360 for a team of 4. They start, I think, tee-off is at 9, breakfast, they'll be there at 8:30. So please make sure that you get involved in that. You can call the museum, 864-229-7093, 864-229-7093. All right, so that is one event coming up. They have, of course, coming up on the 13th, we have our Hodges Cokesbury Volunteer Fire Department, and the Lights on Main will be going on. That's not till the 13th, though. And what was one of the other things I wanted to talk about? Where is that? My passion here. Or is it here? I thought I had it here. I thought I saw it when I was coming down the pike here. Oh, yeah, the Lawrence County Speedway, the Darlington of Dirt. Saturday night. Classes running this Saturday. Futures, Young Guns, Stock 4, Cadet, Thunder Bomber, the 602, the front-wheel drive, and the Limited and the Crown Vic. So that is going to be a fun night. That is this Labor Day weekend on Saturday. Gates open at 5. Driver registration at 5:30. Driver must sign in for themselves. They got to be able to sign in. Driver meeting at 6:30. Hot laps and racing begins at 7. So it really is, if you've never been to something like this, go. It is just good old time entertainment. And who doesn't like hearing the roar of the cars and the smell of the crowd and all that kind of stuff? I mean, there's something very primal about it. So go out and go over there to Lawrence and see that. That's just one of the things that I think is a lot of fun. So I just wanted to highlight that. Y'all are probably saying this woman is nuts. Have you ever been there? Have you ever done it? Well, before you say that, you should just know it is a whole lot of fun. All right, one other thing I should probably tell you about is, what was it I was going to tell you? There was something about parking. The Greenwood Police Department is asked about parking in residential neighborhoods. One of the most misunderstood parking issues are the requirements for a sidewalk that crosses a driveway. In South Carolina, it is illegal to park a vehicle on a sidewalk. This statute, 56-5-2530, even applies if the sidewalk crosses your driveway. Your vehicle must be fully on your property, and the sidewalk must be free from obstruction. Be cautious of how far your vehicle protrudes into the sidewalk. Be cautious of how your vehicle protrudes into the sidewalk area. Be good neighbor. Keep sidewalks safe and clear for pedestrians. See, now, did you know that? I did not know that. So I just thought I would mention that. Anyways, we are here at WCRS Radio. Let me see what else we have here, and we're going to finish up for today. Let's see if I can find a couple of other things. Tomorrow it is the farmers market. The farmers market will be going on out there at our fun place that we have, the recreational facility out there at Greenwood County. So make sure you check that out. They'll have I understand they're going to have 2 bakers out there tomorrow. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, there are some things coming up that are pretty fun. One of the things that I posted on our Facebook page, the Exchange, and it says, did you know the Chipley building, called now the Chipley Vogue, served as a Ford automotive manufacturing facility in uptown Greenwood at the turn of the century. Built by John Chipley, the factory floor turned out early Model T and Model S cars right here in Greenwood. The stretch facing Waller Avenue was later the home to beloved local department store, the Vogue, before renovations in the 70s reshaped the building into what we know today. The former Vogue storefront now houses Mary Frances Limited, while the rest of the building stretches back to Phoenix Street with tenants like Sled Dog Brewery, Moonstruck Beauty Lounge, Louise's Salon, and the 8th Circuit Solicitor's Office. From cars to couture to craft beer, the Chipley Vogue building has always been a place where Greenwood stories keep moving forward. So, the history that is actually here in Greenwood, I think, is pretty darn fascinating. So that was That was another one. The Conisty Dam is finished, other than some finishing touches on it, which, in light of the fact that we've been having all these earthquakes lately, is probably a good thing. Now, maybe it wouldn't have been anything, but we have had so many. What are we up to? 12 or 13? I think we're up to quite a few. So, other than that, don't forget this weekend that you will be able to do the lights on Greenwood. The fireworks out there at the lake will be going on. That is pretty big. They moved it to this weekend with the idea of maybe taking a little pressure off, plus maybe the weather would be better, and it looks like they have succeeded in that. So, without much more to say here this morning, a yada yada of this morning's Coffee Talk show is over. I guess I could have talked about something serious, but I did. I talked about WCRS, 84 years young, and still going strong. Stronger maybe than it's been in many years, because of Ann Eller. Well, no, it's because of Penny. And then it was Gracie having our help here, keeping Ann moving at all times. All right, that's going to do it for me. This is WCRS Radio. Thanks for tuning in. This was a show about nothingness, really, but it was some little nuggets of information. I hope you have a great day. And don't get into any trouble this weekend, but get out there and enjoy this world. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a good one.